Welcome to our course on Prospective for Family Offices, Mastering the Art of Scenario Planning in a Complex World. Prospective for Family Offices is a comprehensive course designed to equip ultra-high net worth families and their advisors with the tools and mindset needed to navigate an increasingly complex world. The course unfolds in 5 core modules: Foresight and long-term wealth management, number 1. Number 2, establishing a level playing field. Number 3, introduction to Foresight. 4, Foresight case studies and implementing scenarios on the investment committee, number 5. Each module builds upon the last to create a cohesive framework for strategic decision-making across generations. What we've done in this course is implement a progressive path towards a very extensive, very detailed case study. You will probably need to pause some of the slides and print some of the material. We used Oliver, our AI voice reader, as usual, to make sure the note reading is consistent, but we have very extensive notes in this course, so you'll probably need to print them, stop for a while, and then read the notes and come back to the presentation afterwards. By the end of this course, family offices will have mastered a holistic scenario planning toolkit that aligns their wealth management strategies with long-term values, adapts to disruptive forces, and preserves both capital and cohesion across generations. Enjoy our course and do not forget to take the MCQ at the end of the course.
Why do family offices need foresight? Ultra-high net worth UHNW family offices require scenario planning and strategic foresight to navigate increasing complexity and volatility, enabling proactive adaptation and informed decision-making beyond traditional methods. These strategic tools build resilience by helping family offices prepare for inherent uncertainties, manage diverse risks including market, geopolitical, and cybersecurity threats, and adapt dynamically to changing environments. Scenario planning enhances decision-making by providing a structured framework to evaluate potential risks and opportunities, fostering data-driven insights and challenging pre-existing biases among family members. Foresight cultivates organizational agility and innovation, stimulating creative problem-solving and enabling the early identification of emerging trends for a sustained competitive advantage. For long-term stewardship, scenario planning supports dynamic investment strategies, helps navigate complex tax and regulatory landscapes, and ensures financial sustainability across generations, aligning financial integrity with core family values. In succession planning, these methodologies anticipate leadership transition challenges, prepare the next generation through skill development and mentorship, and ensure a smooth transfer of ownership and management, mitigating risks like wealth dilution, e.g., the 70/90 rule. To foster family unity, scenario planning promotes open communication, collaborative governance, and formalized conflict resolution protocols, while philanthropy, guided by foresight, becomes a unifying force for shared purpose and values. 1. Quantitative scenarios are crucial for financial resilience, involving sophisticated financial models, Monte Carlo simulations, and portfolio stress testing to optimize investments, manage liquidity, and plan for taxes and estates. 2. Strategic management scenarios prepare family offices for geopolitical and macroeconomic shifts, global trade dynamics, and regulatory changes, enhancing strategic flexibility and global asset protection. 3. Exploratory scenarios consider disruptive technologies like AI and wildcard events, broadening perspectives and stimulating innovation. 4. Normative scenarios define ideal future states and philanthropic goals, guiding legacy planning by working backward from desired outcomes. 5. Operational scenarios optimize day-to-day efficiency, enhance crisis preparedness, e.g. cybersecurity, and improve team collaboration within the family office. Here is a high-level description of our method of creating scenarios. Our Russian doll method in scenario planning is a technique used to create nested layers of factors and sub-factors, much like the nested dolls in a Russian doll set. This method helps in understanding the complexity and interrelationships between various elements that contribute to the development of scenarios. Russian doll method in scenario planning. Identifying factors and sub-factors. The first step involves identifying the main factors that influence the scenario. These factors can be broad and encompass various aspects, such as economic, social, technological, environmental, and political elements. Each main factor is then broken down into sub-factors that provide more detailed insights into specific areas. Nested layers. The factors and sub-factors are organized in nested layers, similar to the structure of Russian dolls. The outermost layer represents the broad factors, while the inner layers represent the sub-factors. This hierarchical structure helps in visualizing the relationships and dependencies between different elements. Combining and correlating factors. Once the factors and sub-factors are identified and organized, the next step is to combine and correlate them to understand how they interact with each other. This involves analyzing the cause and effect relationships between different elements and identifying potential sub-events that may arise from these interactions. Producing sub-events and final scenarios. The combined and correlated factors and sub-factors lead to the identification of sub-events. These sub-events are specific occurrences or changes that can impact the overall scenario. By understanding the sub-events, planners can develop final scenarios that encompass the possible futures based on the interactions and dependencies of the factors and sub-factors. Here is an example. Let's consider a scenario planning exercise focused on our sub-scenario A1 Cold War. Main factor: geopolitics. Sub-factors: AA1 Global Geopolitical Crisis Cold War. AB1 All-Out Trade Wars. AC2 Rise of Populism and Authoritarianism. By organizing these factors and sub-factors in sub-scenarios, the investment committee/the CIO can analyze the drivers of our Cold War sub-scenario. These interactions help in identifying sub-events, such as increased unilateral tariffs and populistic electoral wins, which contribute to our final scenarios.
These are the basic narratives for the 4 scenarios for 2030. Note that the scenarios are not predictions, but rather extreme hypotheses. The reality will probably lie somewhere in between the different scenarios. If our strategic asset allocation is robust in all these scenarios, it will perform well in the real world too. Our megatrends are forces that operate over the long term and on a large scale and shape the world. They are complex factors that affect society on many levels. Population aging. The megatrend suggests that Europe, USA, and China will see their population decline by 2030. This tendency affects the world's largest economies, which account for more than 80% of global GNP. Climate change and ecosystem losses. Climate change, food and water shortages will increase. The intensity of extreme weather events continues to grow in the coming decades, which means that new systems must be built to adapt to extreme precipitation and drought. Quantum leaps in technology. Quantum mechanics, encryption, AI, metaverse, and new energies
will change many paradigms of daily life and business. Societal changes. Some aspects of social change differentiate between the scenarios, but some aspects are megatrends with a clear dominant direction, as we can foresee global population growth, an increase in the number of displaced people, a rise in the urban population, and ever more megacities, varying degrees of geopolitical polarization and economic fragmentation of the world. Keywords are VUCA and SPOF. All scenarios contain some degree of geopolitical tension and the creation or strengthening of blocs and alliances by 2030. Also, the commercial and financial domain is characterized by various levels of barriers and a dimension of economic and financial decoupling. Now here is a brief narrative for each of our 4 scenarios. Scenario 1. Polycrisis and protectionism. In a world impacted by crisis, global armed conflict, refugee crises, and ecological crisis, the dislocation of supply chains is very common. This uncertainty leads to widespread inflation and an unstable, unpredictable world. Protectionism is the key word since everyone protects their resources and prioritizes their internal security, food, industry, cyber defense, etc. Scenario 2. Polarization and fragmentation. The world is polarized, closing on itself, and characterized by bloc adherence and choosing sides, West versus Far East. Europe, isolated and with an aging population, suffers. As societies are in crisis, fragmented, and poor countries experience an exodus. The dollar is no longer the standard currency of world markets, and the yuan has proven to be the strong currency of world transactions. This global climate leads to finding internal solutions, as well as intra-regional relocations, associated with a push for improving local ecology. Scenario 3. Resilience and inertia. In a world where the environment continues to deteriorate, countries agree to trade, but they learn to manage shortages and promote the development of economic channels that are still centralized, but more resilient, less open, home-shoring, and less technological. The social model slightly changes, and the relative lifestyle inertia leads to a partial return to growth, price stability, and a relative decline in key interest rates. Scenario 4. New World and Economic Boom. The world is experiencing a phase of peace and strong economic growth, resulting in inflation and structurally high rates. This growth leads to a virtuous circle in which a societal balance is implemented and in which technological and societal innovation plays a vital role. New natural resources, new production methods.
Our Family Office and Family Wealth course reaches a global audience. While North America represents over 20% of our students, Asia in total represents over 30%, while our Latin American and African audience is growing rapidly. We can also observe that Asian students tend to be more thorough, taking the MCQ tests more frequently, and registering for more sections of the course.